Hello guys, how are we feeling today in this crazy fast-paced world of constant chasing, adapting, conforming to expectations and trying to survive? Are we feeling happy? Are we feeling hopeful? Positive? Or bored, suppressed, depressed, and don't see a point in living anymore? I'm an HSP that is currently going through a dark night of the soul, and I'm in a very vulnerable position, to be honest. It might not look like this, I don't know, but yeah. After I divorced my life, my wife, my life. Yeah, I'm currently divorcing my life too. But after I divorced my wife 5 years ago, it started my. It was the beginning of my isolation. I was working remotely and I was living in despair, in grief, in emotional and other traumatic experiences going through me. And yeah, this was the beginning of my isolation period, where I almost limited my contact with the outside world, and did not have any friends except my kids and my mother and father. But except from them, yeah, not much. So this isolation period transmuted into a dark night of the soul. I was doing prayer because I could not stand myself and the thoughts in my head, the mental dialogue, and it was very hard, and it's still hard. I prayed to be freed from the boundaries, from the bondage of this world, one way or the other. I prayed for liberation, to be saved, one way or the other. I didn't care anymore about myself. I lost motivation to work and I burned out. 2023, and then I started freelancing for about a year and I burned out from that too. So it became clear that my field of work is not fulfilling, and there was just this noise in my head that started to build up when I tried to focus and to concentrate on my work. I was a web developer, just to give you some context. So it became unbearable, and my body basically, and my brain mostly, shut down. It just shut down and couldn't do any more work. My productivity went to zero, so I lost my freelancing contract. And this happened last April, so about 8 months at the moment of recording. Today is 3rd of December 2025. And I felt this like a calling from life, because it was life circumstances and this body mind that couldn't carry on living like it used to live, to push through, to force himself, to force myself to to support myself and my kids. But yeah, I tried, but the body decided it's no go. So I've been trying to figure out what to make of my life. But I realized I had many realizations in the last 5 years since my divorce and my isolation time began. One of them is that I'm not actually living my life. I should not take responsibility of me living my life, because life is living me. So it's just the opposite. And in that way, you give authority, you remove authority from the ego and from your personal self and constructs and personal motivations and meanings and the way you see things and the way you desire things and want things to change and to become and to be successful and whatever. To try, basically trying to make your way through this, in this world of this human world, human-made world, society, and just let go of this perspective, of this perception, and instead there was this realization that life is living me. I'm being lived by life itself. Because even when we look at the body, we see that the body is an autonomous organism that does not require an input from a persona or from an ego construct and its beliefs to function. It does everything on its own. It breathes, the heart beats, digestive system, nervous system, sense perceptions, everything is working perfectly and automatically, autonomously, without needing us. So why we decided that life and this body in particular needs any input and needs guidance? Because this amounts to all the stress and anxiety that we experience, because we put ourselves in a character, we enclose ourselves, our awareness of everything. We enclose it into the confined boundaries of a limited character with its desires, wants, comparing with others and stuff like this, trying to survive and so on. So this was very liberating, but yeah, as you can suppose, this did not solve any problems. But also, there is now this knowing that problems don't need to be resolved, because problems exist in our minds, because we think about those problems, we create those problems, because we're unhappy. Problems are like barriers for our happiness. They stop us, they drag us back. This can be bad habits, addictions, mental suffering, job struggles. And I've had all of those. I struggled with porn, I smoked weed. So life continued. Before realization, after realization, what's been conditioned in this system continued to unfold in more or less the same way. But the identification that I am doing this, and not the conditioning that's already at play, that's been developed through the years, or has been genetically preconditioned, that I'm not that. There was a separation, that I am this. I'm this construct, and I'm responsible for this construct. So I'm more or less started observing and witnessing these patterns inside me. And what I noticed is one of the first things is my resistance to them. So I was in resistance to who I am. I was in resistance to my conditioning, which was a perpetual stress and anxiety. So this is when self-acceptance comes very handy and comes into play. I, I let go of trying to manipulate who I am, and started accepting my weaknesses, my addictions, my bad habits as conditioned patterns that are not going to dissolve through willpower or just like this. Because and I stopped resisting them. I started observing them but not engaging mentally with them, which proved to be very beneficial because this dissolved the resistance. It alleviated the resistance, and brought more peace. Even while the habits kicked in, for example, porn addiction, I didn't judge myself so hard because I recognized that battling your states and feeling guilty and blaming yourself for what you've done actually strengthens this mechanism and builds resistance. And as you know, the cliche, what you resist persists. So now I'm in a state of accepting myself such as I am. And it's quite nice. But life still, there is no expectations that life should change in any way. Life just goes on, and even if you try to not do anything on a particular day, you see that the body won't be able to do nothing. It will always do something. It will get up and make a meal and eat and go to the toilet and go for a walk and call somebody or watch something. It will on its own, it will know what to do. But when we put the ego as a chief, as a leader, and it's a very bad leader. It's constantly feeling unfulfilled. It constantly brags about this and that and makes us feel unhappy, not holy, and always wanting more and more and never feeling satisfied. Always comparing itself with others or with our ideas, mostly, of our ideal selves. But this ideal self ideal me does not exist. It's never enough. Even if you're a highly motivated, willful person, which I'm not, but even if you're that, you see that the more you acquire, it's never enough. You always want to acquire more. So, there was just letting go of all these positions of the mind. Trying to grasp, trying to compare, trying to blame, to guilt, all this push and pull relationship within myself, the inner dynamics, the narratives. And naturally I began contemplating and sitting quietly with myself. And just looking at the patterns that emerged in my head, the beliefs about myself that played out. The way they made me feel, because a lot of the feelings, even especially the more traumatic ones, they produce a sensation in the body, a contracted state, a heaviness in the chest, a tightness in the throat, and so on. Maybe a noise in the head and a headache. So all these sensations I observed, and there was this allowance for them to unfold as they will, without expecting. This is very important, to not expect a miraculous change of character and everything to be lifted from your shoulders immediately. No, it's a continuous process of reaffirming, going back to this observer consciousness where you just allow. And the more you allow, the more space you give to for what is to be as it is. And believe it or not, some habits, not all, but some, ceased. For example, I saw how weed was just distracting me. I smoked because I felt unhappy and I needed this this substance to distract me, to change to modify my perceptions, to heighten some senses and regulate others upwards and downwards, to just make me feel different, to make me escape my natural state. So it is an escape mechanism. It made me feel quite free and carefree and joyful, and the perception, some sensations were heightened. The concentration was not. So I saw all this playing out. I saw how it affected me, and I just felt that it does not anymore. It doesn't give me anything. It just keeps me in the loop. It just keeps me surviving and regenerating a bit and relaxing a bit so I can take the next day. And basically I lived my whole day waiting for the late afternoon after 5 p.m. so I can crack 2 beers and smoke a joint. And this is all I lived for. And I just saw that this does not serve me in any way. It just keeps me stuck. I just saw it so clearly. You have to see it so clearly. You cannot force yourself, no, I'm gonna stop. Or maybe you can, I don't know. I cannot. And I'm talking about allowing here. I'm not talking about brute forcing or being alpha male, making his way through life through force and willpower. No, I'm talking about allowance, acceptance, and seeing things as they are without trying to modify them. It's very vulnerable and very surrendering state, and it's not for everyone, but for me it's working. So I saw through this addiction. I saw it does not serve any purpose for me, and it just dropped. I stopped buying and I stopped smoking. Then there was the tobacco. I had a couple of illnesses, flu-like symptoms, and one of the times I lost all sense, so I did not smoke cigarettes for 5 days. And in this period, and then when I tried to smoke, I felt the cigarette, the tobacco, tasting awfully. It's very distasteful. And I did not stop them 100%, but I'm smoking like 3 cigarettes a day, while I was smoking like 12, 15 cigarettes before. But all this happened after I burned out. So I was unemployed, there was no distress of the job. And I also saw like that my job, because it stressed the body, it nurtured these habits to distract, to alleviate the mental suffering and the stress in the system through smoking weed, tobacco, watching porn also. because these were small rewards for me having to go through this day that I don't like, all the stress in the job and struggling. I was struggling so much, and these habits were just a coping mechanism to keep me struggling, but to alleviate the stress to a certain extent. But now when I'm unemployed, I have time for myself, I have time to contemplate, I have time to meditate and to actually see how things are playing out. So it's a very important moment that I'm going through. And I see that these addictions are falling away on their own, which is the natural way, the real, the pure way of coping with addiction, is to actually recognize it with your awareness, what it does to you, what it does. And just the seeing, the actual seeing, the clarity of this seeing, it magically, it somehow, it puts an end to this addiction. Maybe not immediately, but it just falls away from your life. Yeah. So, this channel I want to speak about, and I will speak about how we feel. How do you feel? What's happening? I'm currently looking for a job, trying to make a certificate and change direction a bit. And I'm unwilling to do so. I'll be honest with you. I'm unwilling. I don't want to work. And maybe nobody wants. It's not that I don't want to work. I don't feel meaning and purpose in the job market, in the jobs that are offered in the job market. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's more important things that I can do with my life, and build communities or join communities, and where we can share together, be ourselves, meet heart to heart, and share our experiences of how we feel in the world, and support ourselves, each other. And I feel a calling for this. My heart is filled with excitement and aliveness. It feels fulfilled. It feels happy when I let it express, let my expression go through it in alignment with it. And all my jobs were suppressing this, and they gave rise to these addictions. I'm gonna tell you one more story about unemployment and coping mechanisms, job-related coping mechanisms. I went to a psychiatrist because I was experiencing some contrasting up and downs, so I thought I was probably a little bit bipolar or something. So I went to the psychiatrist for a session, and she told me, I explained my situation, that I'm unemployed, I burned out twice and stuff like this. I'm a spiritual person, I meditate a lot, I also shared my realizations, breakthroughs, enlightening experiences and stuff like this. And yeah, she thought I was bipolar, because mostly because I was unable to find myself a job for so long. And she said, on the first session, which was 30 minutes, so from 30 minutes, not knowing almost anything, how much can you share in 30 minutes? I mean, come on. So she does not know almost anything about my psychology, about my conditioning, about my thought patterns, about the way this body functions and mind. She just jumps into concluding that I'm bipolar, not sure on which part of the spectrum, bipolar 1, 2, or something in between. And she offers me a deadline of 1 month to find myself a job, or we are going to start taking medications. So she immediately proposed giving me medications. Actually, she initially proposed prescribing me medications right away. You see? And these medications are exactly the same thing as the addictions. And because I said to her I was smoking weed and I stopped after I lost my second job. And then she said, you don't want to take medications, but you can take drugs. And I said, no, I don't want to take anything. That's the point. I don't want to take drugs to get back to work, because this was the pattern that was happening all along. I don't say that I don't have to work at all. I want to work, but I want fulfilling work. I want a work that means something, that actually is helping, that is aligned with myself, with my values, with my feelings, with my heart. I was suppressing this, and that's why I needed these drugs. This is clearly seen now. But now she said, like, no, you have to, you either have to adapt to this system and work in it, or you need to start doing medications. Wow. And this is a mental health specialist. Imagine. Anyway, this was my report for today, and I'll be seeing you soon, guys. Hope you're bearing, coping, going through life somehow. Don't be too contracted. Let go. See you next time.